Before we begin, a quick but important note. Everything shared in this video is for educational purposes regarding biomechanics and human movement. It is not a substitute for professional medical diagnosis or treatment. If you have a serious spinal condition, please consult your doctor before trying any new exercise. Let me ask you something. This morning, when you first got out of bed, did you feel that deep, dragging heaviness in your lower back? That moment when you had to steady yourself against the nightstand before taking your first step. Most people will tell you that this is just part of getting older. They will say it is the inevitable price of an aging spine. But what if I told you that this explanation is incomplete? What if that morning stiffness is not a structural failure of your bones, but rather a signal that a crucial muscle has simply gone dormant? A muscle that modern life has quietly disconnected from your brain. And in the next few minutes, I am going to show you how to wake it back up, right where you are sitting, without any equipment. Hidden beneath the superficial abdominal muscles that fitness magazines love to showcase lies a remarkable structure. It is called the Transversus Abdominis. Notice the design. Unlike other muscles that run vertically, these fibers wrap horizontally around your entire midsection like a living, breathing corset. For 2 million years, this internal weight belt protected our ancestors' spines as they carried heavy loads across rough terrain. It kept their internal organs properly positioned and maintained structural integrity without any external support. This is your body's original stability system. But in most of us today, especially as the decades pass, this biological corset has gone alarmingly quiet. We tend to look in the mirror and assume that a widening waistline in later years is simply a cosmetic issue, a harmless accumulation of soft tissue. But this is a widespread misunderstanding. What you are actually witnessing is the silent collapse of that internal corset. When the Transversus Abdominis loses its mechanical tension, it can no longer hold your internal architecture safely in place. Biomechanics experts describe this condition as visceral ptosis. In plain language, it is the forward shifting of your internal organ weight. When this internal load drifts forward, your center of gravity is thrown out of alignment. Suddenly, the delicate structures of your lower back are forced to support your entire upper body all by themselves, completely stripped of their frontal support system. That heavy sensation you feel each morning is not spinal failure. It is the cry of a system that has lost its most critical pillar. So what caused this 2-million-year-old weight belt to shut down? The answer is sitting right in your living room. Think about that expensive, deeply cushioned recliner you love. Every time you sink into it, you genuinely believe you are giving your tired joints a well-deserved rest. But beneath the surface, a harsh biomechanical trade-off is taking place. Those soft cushions are not a sanctuary for recovery. They are essentially a sensory deprivation chamber for your nervous system. When you recline into all that padding, You disrupt a vital physiological principle called biotensegrity, the elegant balance of tension and compression that holds any complex structure upright. Imagine the rigging ropes on a tall sailing ship. If you slacken those ropes, the mast immediately becomes unstable and vulnerable to snapping under pressure. Your body works the same way. By letting the chair do the work of holding you, you are cutting those biological ropes. You are signaling to your brain that the Transversus Abdominis is no longer needed for survival. And your body, being ruthlessly efficient, stops spending energy to maintain a muscle that is never called upon. Decades of sinking into soft furniture have led to a profound loss of deep core stability. Our ancestors never had these engineered traps. A stonemason in the 19th century sat on a rigid wooden stool or rested in a deep, active squat. Those ancient resting positions demanded constant, subtle postural adjustments. Their central nervous system was continuously communicating with the Transversus Abdominis, maintaining a baseline tension that protected the spinal discs from excessive wear. They kept their physical independence because their environment demanded it every single day. Today, our over-cushioned environment demands nothing from us, and in return, it slowly steals our ability to move freely. But here is the beautiful truth about human biology. Your body never forgets its original design. You do not need to accept this structural decline, and you absolutely do not need punishing workouts to reclaim your foundation. The journey back to your ancestral core begins with one small, deliberate shift in your daily environment. Right now, I want you to do something that challenges everything modern furniture stands for. Move forward to the very edge of your seat. Plant both feet firmly on the ground. Now, gently stack your ribcage directly over your pelvis, creating one clean vertical column of bone. By simply removing the artificial support of the backrest, you instantly force your nervous system to wake up those dormant muscles. Just sitting upright and unsupported, you have initiated the very first step of postural realignment. You have just sent an undeniable command to your Transversus Abdominis to switch back on and do its job. Hold this upright, unsupported position for just 3 minutes at a time, several times a day. The next time you sit down to read or watch television, you are no longer passively resting. You are actively signaling your body to rebuild its internal scaffolding. You are telling your biological machinery that you demand stability, that you refuse to hand over your mobility to a piece of furniture. And your body will respond, one small postural correction at a time. Now let us go one layer deeper. If we strip away the flesh and look at the human spine in isolation, we see an architectural marvel, but one that is remarkably vulnerable. A simple stack of bones and shock-absorbing discs cannot possibly support the immense vertical load of a moving body on its own. It requires an invisible force field, a phenomenon scientists call intra-abdominal pressure. To picture this, think of a fully inflated tire placed directly under a heavy roof. As long as the tire maintains its internal pressure, the roof is perfectly supported and the delicate structures inside are protected from being crushed. When the horizontal fibers of your transversus abdominis contract together with your diaphragm and pelvic floor, they seal this biological cylinder. They generate just the right amount of internal pressure to push outward, creating a flawless natural weight belt that stabilizes your lumbar spine from within. But when age and inactivity cause this internal belt to weaken, what does the modern system offer us? A rigid piece of synthetic nylon with Velcro straps, a medical back brace. We wrap it tightly around our waist, step outside, and immediately feel a warm illusion of security. But there is a clinical phenomenon you should know about. It is called sensorimotor amnesia. In plain terms, it means your brain has literally started to forget how to talk to your muscles. By applying artificial external pressure around your torso, the nylon brace hijacks your body's sensory feedback loop. It whispers a dangerous message to your central nervous system, saying that the biological corset is no longer required to do any heavy lifting. Your body is incredibly efficient. If a muscle is not forcefully recruited, it stops spending precious energy to maintain it. Over time, as you lean on that external crutch, your transversus abdominis stops generating its own internal pressure entirely. And every time you remove that brace at the end of the day, your spine is left suddenly exposed to the full, unforgiving force of gravity without its protective pressurized cylinder. This is not how the human machine was designed to operate. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors possessed spines that withstood immense daily loading without ever consulting a physical therapist or purchasing a supportive garment. They thrived because they naturally preserved their intra-abdominal pressure with every step they took. Think about the last time you bent over to pick up a grocery bag or lift a grandchild. If you simply folded forward with a relaxed, dormant midsection, you forced the delicate discs of your lower back to absorb the full shock of that movement. From a biomechanical perspective, moving without internal pressure is a serious error. We must stop trying to replace the deeply woven brilliance of human biology with cheap, mass-produced industrial materials. Reclaiming your physical independence starts with letting go of the synthetic crutches and restoring your biological weight belt. We must re-educate the nervous system and reignite the internal pressure chamber before the damage accumulates. You do not need to lift massive weights in a crowded gym to achieve this. You only need to master the quiet art of mechanical tension. Before you bend down to lift anything today, I want you to prepare your biological cylinder. Stand tall. Take a slow, measured breath into your lower abdomen, expanding your midsection horizontally in all directions, as if you are inflating a thick inner tube around your waist. Do not suck your stomach in. Instead, push it gently but firmly outward against an imaginary belt. Brace those deep internal muscles, sealing the pressure chamber. Maintain that firm expansion as you hinge at your hips to move. This single deliberate action is the evolutionary activation code for your transversus abdominis. You are instantly generating intra-abdominal pressure, wrapping your delicate spine in a shield of biological stability. By doing this consciously during your very next movement, you regain your stability and signal your body to rebuild. You are no longer a fragile patient dependent on nylon. You are the architect of your own lasting mobility. There is another profound and deeply hidden relationship inside your body, one that dictates whether your spine ages with dignity or collapses under the weight of time. It is the sacred mechanical marriage between your breathing and your internal corset. In a state of pure evolutionary design, the respiratory diaphragm and the transversus abdominis operate together in a flawless biological symphony. Every time you inhale, the diaphragm is designed to descend like a powerful piston, while the transversus abdominis catches that pressure, expanding smoothly outward to stabilize your lower back. But we have profoundly disrupted this ancient rhythm. Consider the posture that modern civilization forces upon us for the vast majority of our waking hour. When you sit collapsed in a soft office chair or hunched forward over a glowing screen, you are physically folding your torso in half. You are compressing the abdominal cavity into a fraction of its natural space. In this collapsed artificial posture, the diaphragm becomes physically trapped. It cannot descend. And when the diaphragm is locked, the transversus abdominis is instantly starved of its mechanical trigger. This creates a devastating chain reaction called reciprocal inhibition. Imagine pressing the brake pedal and the gas pedal at the same time. The car's computer eventually shuts off the engine to prevent a total breakdown. When your chest and hip flexor muscles are constantly shortened and tightened from sitting, your central nervous system acts like that computer. It forces the opposing muscles, specifically your deep core and glutes, to shut down and go into biological hibernation. Because your midsection is physically blocked by this posture, your body must find another way to keep you alive. It switches to emergency shallow breathing, pulling air exclusively into the upper chest and the delicate muscles of the neck. This is the great tragedy of modern comfort. You sit down believing you are resting, but your shallow chest breathing is constantly sending a low-level panic signal to your brain. You are surviving, but you are systematically dismantling the structural integrity of your lower back with every breath. Our ancestors did not suffer from this. A hunter-gatherer maintained a tall, neutral spine as they moved through the world. Because their posture remained open, every single breath reached deep into the pelvic floor. The average human breathes roughly 20,000 times per day. For our ancestors, that meant 20,000 subtle, automatic repetitions of strengthening the transversus abdominis. They maintained a fortress of core stability simply by breathing the way nature intended, while we traded that birthright for a cushioned seat. You cannot fix this deeply ingrained respiratory dysfunction by doing exhausting crunches at the gym. Trying to strengthen the core while the diaphragm remains locked is like building a stone house on loose sand. It is a losing battle against your own anatomy. To truly preserve your mobility, we must go to the root of the breakdown. We must consciously unlock the diaphragm, restore ancestral breathing mechanics, and manually reestablish the connection to the deep horizontal fibers of your internal corset. And I am going to show you exactly how to do that, starting with one simple exercise. Dưới đây là lô 2 của kịch bản hoàn thiện bằng tiếng Anh, tiếp nối trực tiếp từ lô 1. Độ dài khoảng Weftizen 402. I want you to sit on a firm, flat chair. Or, if you prefer, stand upright. Place both of your hands firmly around your lower rib cage, right above your waistline. Feel the warmth of your palms through your clothing. Now, instead of sucking your stomach inward, and instead of shrugging your shoulders up toward your ears, I want you to inhale slowly through your nose. And as you do, actively push your lower ribs outward into your hands. Expand your torso 360 degrees. Feel your back widening, your sides spreading, your belly gently swelling forward, all at the same time. You are creating a pressurized cylinder of air, solid and even in every direction. This is horizontal breathing. This is how our ancestors breathed for 2 million years now. As you exhale, do not collapse. Do not let your spine crumble. Maintain your height and simply allow the ribs to settle back down naturally, like a door slowly closing while the frame stays perfectly still. Repeat this cycle a few times. Inhale, expand sideways, push into your hands. Exhale, stay tall, do not deflate. By practicing this wide, horizontal breathing during your very next quiet moment, you are completely bypassing that emergency shallow chest pattern your body has been stuck in for years. You are forcing the diaphragm down, and for the first time in decades, you are finally sending the correct electrical signal to wake up the dormant muscles in your lower spine. You are using the simple act of breathing, something you do 20,000 times a day, to reclaim your structural independence. Once you feel this expansion while seated, I want you to bring it into a standing position. This is where we touch one of the foundational principles of evolutionary anatomy, a law that governs the physical trajectory of our later years. In academic circles, it is known as Wolff's Law. But for you and me, translated into everyday life, it simply means this: your living biological tissues will adapt to the exact mechanical demands you place upon them. If you regularly expose your body to healthy mechanical tension, it grows resilient and strong. But if you surrender to a world designed for absolute physical comfort, your biology assumes that structural integrity is no longer required, and it quietly dismantles your internal strength. This brings us to one of the most widespread yet damaging habits of the modern era. For decades, media and fitness magazines have instructed you to suck your stomach in to look younger and more fit. They convinced an entire generation that a hollowed, pulled-in waistline was the ultimate symbol of health. But there is something they did not tell you. This single cosmetic habit completely disables the structural integrity of your spine, leaving your lower back defenseless against gravity. The truth about spinal longevity was mapped out 2 million years ago, but the aesthetic industry buried it. When you forcefully suck your stomach in, you are intentionally breaking the seal on your biological corset. You are pulling the Transversus Abdominis backward, rather than allowing it to expand horizontally and create natural intra-abdominal pressure. In the world of biomechanics, this is the exact equivalent of deflating the thick tires on a heavy transport truck right before you load it with cargo. The delicate joints of your lumbar region are forced to grind together, absorbing the full shock that your deep core was designed to catch. This is a serious mechanical error. You do not achieve lifelong mobility by hiding your waistline behind a hollowed stomach. You achieve it by expanding your internal power. Now, I want you to step away from the noisy distractions of the commercial fitness industry. Just for this moment, silence everything else and focus entirely on the remarkable machinery you currently inhabit. You do not need an expensive gym membership, and you certainly do not need to subject your aging joints to high-impact routines to regain your stability. The restoration of your physical independence begins with a quiet, dignified return to ancestral joint mechanics. We call this profound state of alignment joint centration. In simple, everyday terms, it means stacking your skeletal structure so perfectly that your muscles barely have to expend any energy to keep you upright. I invite you right now to slowly stand up from your chair. Stand still for a moment. Now, imagine a perfectly straight, invisible plumb line dropping from the very center of your ear. It passes smoothly through the side of your shoulder, travels down through the center of your hip, and lands directly through your ankle. Gently shift your weight until your rib cage is stacked flawlessly over your pelvis. Your head is not jutting forward. Your belly is not thrust out excessively. Everything aligns along one single vertical line. This is the exact posture of an ancient stonemason surveying his work. It is a posture of quiet authority and immense internal strength. When you achieve this flawless vertical alignment, you are making a small but profound shift in your biomechanics. Instantly, you wake up muscles that have slept for decades, sending a clear, undeniable signal to your body to rebuild. You are no longer fighting against the heavy pull of gravity. You are partnering with it, allowing the natural downward force to lock your joints into a state of absolute, nearly effortless stability. Stand there, in that posture, and return to your breath. Inhale, expand your lower ribs 360 degrees. Keep your spine tall. Exhale, do not collapse. By consciously holding this dignified posture and breathing deeply into your expanding lower back, you are initiating a profound transformation. During your very next moment of simply standing in line or walking across a room, practice this exact postural realignment. You are not just standing up straight. You are actively securing the 2 million-year-old biological weight belt that evolution gifted you. You are reclaiming physical independence, one perfectly balanced breath at a time. That heavy, dragging sensation in your lower back will gradually fade, replaced by the sturdy, reliable support of a fully awakened core. Today, you have rediscovered the magnificent horizontal corset that nature designed to protect your vitality. You now understand exactly how modern comforts, synthetic medical braces, and the cosmetic illusion of sucking your stomach can disable this evolutionary masterpiece. But there is a deeper truth, one that may cause you to re-examine everything you were once taught. I want you to think back to your younger years. Those intense crunch and sit-up exercises you were instructed to perform, perhaps in the military, in physical education classes, or simply following the advice of fitness experts. You believed you were building a foundation of iron. But there is a completely different perspective, one grounded in spinal science, which suggests that those repetitive movements performed over many years may have quietly contributed to wearing down your spinal discs over time. In the next video, I will guide you through this rarely discussed truth. We will expose the misunderstandings surrounding traditional crunch exercises. And more importantly, I will show you how to reverse the unintended consequences of 40 years of misguided training. It will be a conversation that anyone who cares about their long-term spinal health will not want to miss. Before I see you in that video, I have a small question. If you have ever been prescribed a nylon back brace, or even have one sitting in your closet right now, take a moment and type down in the comments section the words, back brace. I genuinely want to know how many people in our community have been introduced to that solution. Each comment not only helps me understand your health journey better, but also helps this video reach more people who are struggling with the same issues but have not yet found their answers. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I warmly invite you to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. The next video, revealing the truth behind traditional crunch exercises, will be released this Thursday evening. It will be a video you can apply right in your own bedroom before you go to sleep. For now, your assignment is simple. Stand up, align your posture with the invisible plumb line. Place your hands on your ribs, inhale, and expand 360 degrees. And walk through your day in that posture, with your 2-million-year-old weight belt finally activated again. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I will see you in the next video. Take care of your body and never surrender to the limitations that others place upon it.